I just want to talk quickly about board director remuneration. There have been a number of studies released recently which have tracked the top 250 board directors in Australia and had a really close look at their earnings and where they're driving their earnings from, which boards they serve on. And even for me, I was a little bit surprised because there certainly is some very significant remuneration on the table. Several board directors, in fact, hundreds of board directors, are earning very close to that 1 million mark, if not over the million mark. And that's coming from a number of ASX board appointments, and it might be bolstered by committee work or potentially some advisory work. So you can definitely see there's a trend towards, people who are pursuing a board portfolio, that they're generating over that 500,000 mark in their later years, which is why this sort of work is so incredibly attractive. Even if you were going to approach this in quite a modest way and, let's say, over a period of time build up to 2 or 3 quality board seats, you would be generating at least 150,000 per annum, and then you could augment that maybe with advisory work, mentoring and the like. And I can see a lot of executives now thinking, well, why don't I leave the corporate world early and start to pivot more towards a board portfolio, because I can generate quite nice income. Now, in the first year, your income levels are going to be nowhere near those numbers, and that's the reality check. The people who eventually end up into quite high levels of remuneration have had a number of years where they've earned very modest income and they have done unpaid board work. And it is a little frustrating because I do speak to a number of execs who just completely rule out unpaid work without thinking about the overall big picture, because most people start out extremely modestly. They may start out on a small not-for-profit, a small government board, a small private enterprise, and the remuneration might be, literally a sitting fee. It might be a few $100s per board meeting. Many clients will sign up and they're only going to earn $12,000 for the year serving on a board. But, any remuneration is good remuneration, and you can channel those funds back into your own professional development. And then eventually board seats will lead to higher profile appointments. And then the standard kind of non-executive director role, and obviously it depends on how many board meetings, the size of the organisation, their revenue numbers and so on. But you're typically looking at about 50,000 as the average for a non-executive director position. And then for advisory board seats, you're typically seeing a figure somewhere between 1,000 and 3,000 per board meeting. For specialist appointments, that might go from 3 to 5. And then occasionally I'll see a few organisations that will pay 10,000 per board meeting for a particular type of advisory board member. And that might be a highly specialised resource. It might be an industry icon who you've engaged to help you open doors into major government contracts, for example. So, there is a pecking order, but it often all comes back to the fundamentals of how many board meetings are happening, the size and the complexity of the organisation, and then obviously the talent that you're trying to attract to the organisation. But it is very lucrative. It is well-paid work. It needs to be, because it is complicated work. It's professional work. You've often had to study for many, many years. You've got many years of experience, so it's the culmination of a very successful corporate life. But you can certainly see why a number of people are pursuing this sort of work. The talent pool is increasing by the day, the people that want to serve on boards, and the key to your success would be taking a realistic position in the early days as you're starting out with your board career, and then in the longer term ensuring that you're constantly reinvesting in yourself so that you stay current, you stay across the board director landscape, you stay educated and professional, able to contribute in a wide range of settings.